Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Food School Smarter, Stronger, Leaner podcast. Today's podcast is about food trends for 2020. Can you believe it? It's 2020 already. Soon, in just a couple of months, we're gonna be in a new decade. It sounds so futuristic for me. 2020. Back when I was a teenager, I thought 2020 will be like that futuristic Star Trek reality. We're not quite there yet, but we are moving faster and faster towards maybe Star Trek future or something very similar to that. But today we are talking, of course, about food trends for 2020 from Whole Foods Market. So on October 21st, Whole Foods Market's global buyers and experts revealed the most anticipated and innovative food trends for 2020. Each year, more than 50 Whole Foods Market team members, including local foragers, regional and global buyers, and culinary experts, thoughtfully compile the report based on decades of experience and expertise in product sourcing, studying consumer preferences, and participating in food and wellness industry exhibitions worldwide. So let's dig into this amazing trends that I was really excited to read about. Actually, most of the trends are moving us towards that future, that vision that I have in my head, where the world where food equals health, where everybody knows how to eat to support their nutrition needs, and every food that is sold supports our short and long-term health. I'm seeing this ethical food system, where food system is our major and first healthcare provider. So that's the vision that I'm working on building. Not alone, of course. Everyone working in food industry, future thinking people who are dedicated to food and health and sustainability, they are all building it, and I'm just at the very beginning of my journey. But anyhow, let's dig in the trends. So trend number 1, regenerative agriculture. Farmers, producers, academics, government agencies, retailers, and more are taking a closer look at how to use land and animal management practices to improve soil health and sequester carbon. While the term regenerative agriculture can have many definitions, in general, it describes farming and grazing practices that restore degraded soil, improve biodiversity, or basically the amount of different species of plants and animals, and increase carbon capture to create long-lasting environmental benefits, such as positively impacted climate change. So a lot of companies will have this claim, regenerative agriculture or sustainability, on their packaging. And some of them are true, some of them are not, just as usual with other claims. But try to, if you have some time, if you have some energy, if you care about sustainability and our climate change, try to look at different products and companies who care about that too, and who create products keeping sustainability and regenerative agriculture and global warming in mind. Next one, flour power. As seasoned and amateur bakers alike look to scratch a creative itch in the kitchen, an array of interesting flours are entering the market, making baking more exclusive and adventurous. So for example, 2020 will bring more interesting fruit and vegetable flours like banana into home pantries, with products like cauliflower flour, yeah, that's the thing, guys, in bulk and baking aisles rather than already baked into crust and snack products, like for example that got popular cauliflower pizza so soon, Actually, now already you can buy cauliflower flour in Whole Foods at least. So look for brand 365 by Whole Foods, and they have their cauliflower flour already. But also look into other flours like coconut flour or tiger nut flour. By the way, guys, about tiger nut, you might see that as an ingredient or a snack, and you might be wondering, what's that nut? It's not actually a nut, because it has more carbohydrates, almost twice as much as fat. But what's kind of cool about this nut, even though it has somewhere around 40 grams of carbohydrates per 100 grams, but it has 17 grams of fiber. It has monounsaturated fatty acids, the ones you're gonna find in things like olive oil. It has the starch that it has, and where most carbohydrates come from. That starch is actually, most of it is resistant starch, so it actually feeds your gut bacteria but resists digestion, and that means it doesn't negatively affect your blood sugar, only positively, and it affects positively your gut health. Also, tiger nuts are, for example, rich in phosphorus, so 100 grams will give you more than somewhere around 70% of your daily need for phosphorus, and also quite high in potassium, 500 milligrams of potassium per 100 grams. So check those nuts out. I love them. They taste absolutely delicious, and and keep you more regular. And plus, there is such flour, tiger nut flour, so try that too. It's completely, of course, gluten-free, and it's gut healthy, plus all the potassium and phosphorus. So tiger nut flour and other flours. The next trend, foods from West Africa. So what I'd like to talk about, like, you can find a lot of different West African foods, but what I want to focus on with you guys is that from West Africa there are different kinds of flours and grains, like sorghum, like fonio, like teff, like millet, that can replace all your grain gluten-full products like wheat and other, or like rye. So if you're looking into more fun, adventurous choices of grains that naturally contain zero gluten, and from my perspective, if you're gluten sensitive or gluten intolerant, it's best if you eat something that is naturally gluten-free. Quinoa is the old one, or buckwheat, but also things like sorghum, like fonio, like teff, like millet, those grains from West Africa. Basically, West Africa originally is probably gluten-free, and that's why they're so lean and healthy there, and that's why a lot of them get sick so easily when they start eating gluten-full modern day wheat products. So sorghum, fonio, teff, and millet from West Africa, but you're also going to see a lot of spices, different foods and dishes featured from West Africa. So get adventurous and try them out. Next trend, out of the box into the fridge snacking. So the key word is fresh in this new generation of grabbing and going. Gone are the days when the only options were granola bars and mini pretzel bags. So the refrigerated section is filling up with the kind of wholesome, fresh snacks, typical prepared and portioned in advance at home. So hard-boiled eggs with savory toppings, pickled vegetables, drinkable soups, also bone broth, all sorts of bone broths, mini dips and dippers of all kinds, all perfectly portioned and in convenient single-serve packaging. So this trend makes my heart sink, even though I don't think that we should be snacking all the time, but it's kind of like good light on the go meal, right? And wholesome foods made convenient, made into single servings, enriched with all sorts of delicious and healthy dips. Just check the ingredients, of course. But that really makes my heart sink. New snacks, not all this ultra processed sorts of bars and all sorts of snacks. But there is nothing better than whole foods, especially if they're convenient and delicious and fresh, of course. The next one, plant-based beyond soy. Soy has a lot of negative effects on your body in bigger amounts, and especially if it's not treated traditionally, like with traditional fermentation as they do in Japan. So soy products can disrupt your hormonal balance. Soy products are pro-allergenic, so basically they tend to create allergic reactions in a lot of people's guts. So eliminating soy as much as possible for rare occasions for really good quality soy products, that's probably a good idea. So the trend is catching on, and so look for all sorts of soy-free versions, from plant proteins to all sorts of dips and sauces. So try to eliminate soy again as much as possible. It's not the only food. Plus, if we eat a lot of soy, it creates that monocrop trend that is not great for our soils or our biodiversity or sustainability. The next trend, everything butters and spreads. It seems like everything is being made into butter on some sort of spread that we all love. So think seed butters beyond tahini, like watermelon, seed butter, and seasonal products like pumpkin butter year-round. Not butters beyond cashew, almond, and peanut, hello macadamia, and even chickpea butters. No, it's not a new name for hummus. I have no idea what's chickpea butter gonna look like, because chickpea, it doesn't have that much fat really. So when you try it, let me know. Look for creamy vegan spreads, perfect for toast batter, gluten-free and low carb. Different crackers, like flaxseed crackers maybe, celery sticks, and full flavors from trending superfoods like pili nut. If you haven't tried pili nut, by the way, one of my favorite nuts ever, better even than macadamia, so try it when you get a chance. My note as from a note from your nutritionist, try to avoid peanut butter and walnut butter. Why? Because they are high in polyunsaturated fatty acids. Walnut omega-3 fatty acids, peanuts in omega-6 fatty acids, because those fats oxidize really easily, especially if you process them in butter. So eat whole nuts instead. This specifically goes for peanut butter that is highly pro-inflammatory, and that the same goes for walnut butter. Even though walnut butter is high in omega-3 fatty acids, but when you process them like that, they oxidize very easily and also become pro-inflammatory. Also, a couple of other notes: check the ingredient list, of course, of all the butters, because a lot of them still have added sugars and all sorts of different fillers and additives. So check the ingredient list. And for mindful consumption, I don't know about you guys, but when I get a whole jar of butter, especially if it's coconut butter, I tend to eat the whole thing. And I don't know what it is with nut butters, but it has the same effect on many people, especially with things like cashew butter. I can eat it like unlimited portions probably. Anyhow, buy single servings. For example, Artisanal, I believe that's the name of the brand. They have their packs of several, I think it's like 10 to 15 single serving containers, and so you grab one and you eat one, right? It has like a tablespoon of butter, and that's, I think, perfect as a perfect snack. And again, it's really hard to portion those butters, especially if you're trying to like lose weight or someone who puts on weight easily from those kind of things. then single serving containers and watching ingredient lists are a must for you when it comes to nut butters. Next trend, rethinking the kids' menu. Are the days of picky eaters numbered? Judging from the number of kids cooking and baking competitions on TV, kids are kitchen savvier than ever. By 2026, 80% of millennials will have children, and many parents are introducing their kids to more adventurous foods with great results. Seeing kids chowing down alongside parents at the Whole Foods Market sushi bar is a common sight. Food brands are taking notice for the next generation, possibly our first true foodies, expanding the menu beyond nostalgic foods with better for you ingredients and organic chicken nuggets. I don't think anyone should eat chicken nuggets, just, eat chicken and chicken livers. They are bringing the gap from old school basic kids menus and taking more sophisticated younger palates into consideration. Think non-breaded salmon fish sticks, foods that are fermented, spiced, or rich in umami flavors. And my advice for you guys as a nutritionist to improve your kids' nutrition, first of all, stop feeding your kids added sugars in the form of sugary cereals and other desserts. Kids do not need added sugars. When your kids are hungry, give them whole foods, give them fruits, give them nuts, give them, even fruit puree is much, much better than added sugar cereals or candy. So go for whole foods for your kids. Next thing is kids are pretty picky eaters because their body is still, discovering all this food variety, trying to understand what is safe, what is not safe. So your kids will not necessarily love foods, especially if those foods are not sweet, from the first bite. So you gotta introduce new foods 10 to 20 times. And the best way to do it is have it at your family lunches and dinners, so when you all are eating that, and then try to encourage your kids to try it again and again in different forms, and after 10 to 20 times your kids will start loving it, especially if you're a pregnant mom, or as a pregnant mom to be, you want to consider your future kid diet in advance. So studies prove that what pregnant mom eats during pregnancy, your kids will also get used to much, much better. So if you start eating broccoli and Brussels sprouts, your kids will love that more when they start eating foods, because they were introduced to those ingredients and chemicals in your shared bloodstream. So take note, and instead of going, junk food and all this stuff, just thinking that now you gotta eat for two, instead, load up on vegetables and other things that you'd love your future kid to eat in the future. The next trend, not so simple sugars. Sure, there is sugar, but for those seeking sweetness outside of the usual suspects like sugar, stevia, honey, and maple syrup, there is lots more to choose from for your cooking, baking, and tea or coffee stirring needs. Syrupy reductions from fruit sources like monk fruit, pomegranates, coconut, and dates are one way to add concentrated unique flavors into recipes for desserts, meat glazes, and marinades. Sweet syrups made from starches like sorghum and sweet potato can be compared to the deep flavors of honey or molasses, and can be used for baking and sweetening beverages. Swerve, a cup-for-cup zero-calorie non-glycemic replacement for sugar, combines erythritol with ingredients from fruit and starchy root vegetables to produce a sweetener that's available in granular confectioners and brown versions. My advice as your nutritionist, look into natural, 100% natural stevia, monk fruit sweeteners. Also, erythritol and allulose seem to be healthy versions, gut healthy and metabolic healthy versions of man created sweeteners. So look for sweeteners with stevia, with monk fruit, with erythritol, with allulose. Those seem to be really, really great options that do not influence your blood glucose, your blood sugar, and also help you to stay fit and lean all year round, having your desserts sometimes too. Yeah, so that's when it comes to sweeteners, my best advice for you guys. The next trend, meat plant blends. Butchers and meat brands won't be left out of the plant-based craze in 2020, but they're not going vegetarian. So chefs across the country have been on board with the trend for years through James Beard Foundation's The Blend the Burger project, a movement that strives to make the iconic burger better for customers and for the planet by blending in at least 25% of fresh mushrooms. So basically this whole trend is about different burger options made from meat and plants. Obviously, the less meat you use, the more vegetables you use, it's going to be less hard on the environment according to all the trends, but also kind of combines the good of both worlds. You eat your meat too and your fiber from mushrooms, for example, and other beneficial plant compounds that comes from more vegetables in your diet. So, but again, look at the ingredient list, make sure that there are no additives or preservatives. So there are simple ingredients that you can actually understand. And if you're not sure about any ingredient, find me on Instagram, on Quora, on Twitter. I'm always doing research about different ingredients. If I don't know something myself, I ask my best scientists, nutrition scientists, and not only friends, and they usually know the answer about every specific ingredient, like where the science is and what is a pure hype and what is truth. About the hype. Yesterday, a friend of mine reached out to me and asked me about pistachios. Like, he read this article that eating a couple of pistachios will make you sleep like a log, and has a lot of melatonin. It's the richest food in melatonin. And although it's true that it's the richest food in melatonin, pistachios, I reached out to my friends because I wasn't sure exactly where good research and science stands when it comes to melatonin and pistachios. And he told me that from all the research we have, it seems that meaningful amount of melatonin to affect your sleep starts somewhere from 1 milligram. And pistachios, 25 grams of pistachios, so basically a handful of pistachios, will contain only 16 micrograms. So basically you will need to eat 250, like somewhere around 200 grams of pistachios to have any meaningful effect on your melatonin. Plus, a lot of it will be trapped in fiber, and your body will not probably extract all the amount of that amount. So you gotta eat quite a lot of pistachios to have a considerable effect on your melatonin levels and help you with sleep. But pistachios are good for all the other reasons. It's full of antioxidants and healthy fats and fiber, but probably not as a melatonin source. So that's on hypes. You see this article online about the nutrition of different superfoods, quote unquote, but a lot of them are exaggerated and has very little scientific backing behind them. So zero proof drinks is the next and last one trend from Whole Foods. So zero proof drinks means drinks that have no alcohol, but are made to remind us those alcoholic beverages that we might otherwise like. With so many consumers seeking out alternatives to alcohol, unique non-alcoholic options are popping up everywhere, from menus at the world's most acclaimed bars to specialty stores. Many of these beverages seek to recreate classic cocktail flavors using distilling methods typically reserved for alcohol, creating an alternative to liquor meant to be used with a mixer rather than a drink on its own. Think alternative gin for gin and tonics, and botanical infused for spirits for a full martini. And to that add to that options enjoyed straight from the bottle or can, like hops infused sparkling waters and zero proof aperitifs. So to that trend, I want to add something that I recently heard on Tim Ferriss' podcast when he was talking to a friend of his, another tech entrepreneur, Kevin Rose. So they were talking and trying and being super excited about this new sparkling water that also has bitters and herb infused drinks that you can add to your cocktails with alcohol or without alcohol. So the company is Dram. And they have, again, sparkling waters. The latest one is with CBD one, but for example, this one I'm looking at, it's citrus and blossom sparkling water. Ingredients: purified carbonated water, Dram citrus bitters, so it's basically a rind of grapefruit, lemon, lime, and orange blossom, hibiscus, lemon salt. So it's alcohol free, vegan, gluten free, non-GMO, and obviously it's sugar free. So no calories, no sugar, and just infused with all these herbs and different plants. Tim Ferriss and Kevin Rose were super excited about it, and they really loved it. So if you see it, Dram, then try it and let me know how it tastes. I'll be in Finland next week, so maybe they have them there. But you know, when I attended biohacking conference in Moscow this year in September, they actually had a lot of those herbs infused non-alcoholic drinks. The only thing I didn't like about those is all of them had sugars added to them. Now, of course, it was, some sort of organic cane sugar or whatever. But I think it's time to introduce to people's palates bitter flavors and flavors sweetened with something like stevia or monk fruit extract that do not influence our blood sugar, do not add calories. Who needs to drink more calories, right? It's not like you're not getting enough from foods. So that was the thing that I didn't like, but it's a trend. And herbs, guys, I'm a huge herbal tea advocate. Like, I love my herbs and they influence your health in a very positive way. Like, I notice whenever I drink my mint peppermint tea after any sorts of dinner, I just feel so much better. Like, my digestion is just perfect, and my energy levels, I don't know, I just feel so much better. Like, I love my herbal teas, absolutely love them, and I drink them every day, at least like half a liter of them. And I love all sorts of herb infused drinks. So I definitely go for some Dram citrus and blossom sparkling water infused with herbs and all sorts of bitters. That's it for today, guys. So we looked through 2020 food trends from top of the team in at Whole Foods, all sorts of professionals and food enthusiasts, healthy food enthusiasts. So re-listen to this episode, stay tuned, stay on top of these trends, but also don't fall prey to these trends. Still, keep your guards up on things like added sugars or processed not in a health beneficial way foods, like for example peanut butter or walnut. Those foods can be highly pro-inflammatory. Also look into gluten-free, naturally foods instead of looking into some processed foods that where gluten was removed. Just look into more natural alternatives. If you got a snack, or if you want to grab a meal on the go, check out refrigerators at your local coffee shop, at your local supermarket, because probably soon you're gonna find things like hard-boiled eggs or veggie sticks with some healthy dips. Don't forget to check the ingredient list, of course, or nuts and seeds and non-breaded fish sticks or salmon sticks. So check all of that out. Stay tuned. And tomorrow, by the way, guys, don't forget to tune in, because we're gonna have a guest on the podcast. I actually have a few interviews now pre-recorded, so I'll think about what we're gonna choose for tomorrow's podcast. It's gonna be an interesting chat, interesting conversation about nutrition, about health, maybe muscles and weight loss, fat loss. We'll see how that goes. But anyhow, it's the end of the week. Happy Friday, everyone. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for listening. And as usual, till next time, eat better daily.